Hello everybody, my name is Verdict and thank you so much for stopping by. You might know me from my main channel where I've done some Turtle WoW content in the past, my top Bs being the Tower of Karazhan pageant review. I've decided to make this brand new channel and dedicate it to my WoW content endeavors, starting with this edited piece right here with a big starting goal of mine, to reach 1000 subscribers as soon as possible. So hit the subscribe button and the bell if you do not wish to miss any upcoming Turtle WoW content. Before we start talking about the best race plus class combinations, a very big disclaimer for the melee players. The weapon skill rating formula has been changed dramatically. Now the hit percentage reward is linear and the +5 bracket no longer exists. This means that you no longer need 9% hit cap but 8%. There will be books scattered across the world that provide some weapon hit rating and the bigger reward with that being the glancing blows reduction, so be mindful of that. Remember, all of these are subject to change, but I believe there will be more or less fine-tuning instead of total reworks of ratios and passives. Check the changelog in the pinned comments for updates on this and the official forum post with all the class and race changes. So let's start with the big boys and girls. Of course, we're talking about the tanks of Turtle WoW, which will split into two categories for both threat and tankiness. First comes, first serves the warrior tank. For the purpose of threat and damage while tanking with the warrior, you'll be better off with choosing any of these. In S tier, the human will be receiving 2% crit chance with melee and spell abilities during perception, maintaining the 3 skill rating with swords and maces, while in reality the orc is the best of threat due to the upcoming Blood Fury now giving the 120 attack power with their +3 hit rating for weapon. The backfire is that you get a debuff for 25% healing reduction. The A tier consists more of a well-even race distribution for the warrior simply because of how fine-tuned the passives and racials are. The High Elf, Troll, Forsaken, and Goblin are all similar results choices with variations between playstyle more than anything else. If you'd like to have up to 20 Rage head start and 2% Agility passive buff, pick High Elf with their Meditation racial. If you'd like to be able to have some opportunity to increase your attack speed with Berserking, then Troll is your call. Followed up with Forsaken, who will deal a consistent 2% damage to humanoid targets, which are the majority of the bosses, and their updated Will of the Forsaken ability will be able to cleanse crowd control on demand. And lastly, Goblins, who simply have a +3 hit rating with daggers and maces, paired up with a 40% movement speed increase that can be useful for the start of every single fight. And now unfortunately we have to jump straight into the F tier because these racials simply do nothing for threat tanking. Of course, we're talking about the Tauren, who is pretty much the same with a slightly nerfed War Stomp, the Gnomes, which pretty much have nothing outside of Escape Artist with a nerfed cooldown, and Dwarves, who have absolutely no offensive cooldowns whatsoever. Now moving on, for the purpose of tanking, we have a major shift in race choice for the warrior, of course, with an S tier being the worst in offense is the best in defense, starting with the Dwarf and their Stone Skin cooldown, which reduces their physical damage taken now by 5% for the entire duration. Moving onward to the Tauren, who are always a solid choice due to their endurance talent, which provides them with a 5% health. All of the rest race options are pretty much irrelevant for the purpose of measuring the tankiness due to that, with the slight exception of High Elf, who get a little extra dodge, and Trolls, who regenerate little health in combat. Many of you probably noticed the absence of Night Elves, and that's with a purpose, simply because Night Elves are, in my opinion, the best overall race to pick for both the purpose of threat and tankiness. Night Elf's quickness is buffed, and it now, aside of the 1% dodge, which helps with avoidance, it provides 1% attack speed to increase your DPS and additionally 1% movement speed, which stacks with other increases. Night Elf seems catered to become the better overall balanced choice for tanking. We can make a similar statement for High Elves and Trolls, as they do have overall hybrid offense and defensive kits, but that's all you could pretty much make of them. It's a little bit of a pick your race and then log in. And of course, we gotta move on to the next class, and you cannot talk Turtle without talking Paladin. And with that comes some great simplicity of choice. Now, Paladins are very easy to pick up. If you would like to have a threat Paladin, then you simply want to pick a human to make use of the crit rate during perception and the skill rating with the weapons. The S tier tank, that would be of course the Dwarf, who will be able to provide that extra 5% physical damage reduction during the racial abilities duration. And last but not least, well, if you would like to run around looking like a snack and have some little extra agility, agility because it will come in handy, trust me. Also fix any possible energy starvation issues, then the High Elves, the e-girl choice for you. And may Slanesh be with you, boys. Get jiggy with it. Jokes aside, High Elves seem quite underwhelming for any tank purpose, and I wouldn't recommend them at all straight to the F tier, despite the fact that I myself am a High Elf. Moving on to the furry feral Druids, the S tier belongs exclusively to the Night Elves. Druids are taking a center stage with their 1% dodge, 1% attack speed, and 1% stackable movement from the Night Elves through the quickness racial passive. The F tier unfortunately goes to the Taurens, is simply lacking heavily those Taurens. While the 5% health does indeed help, and it is valuable, it's not worth the trade-off compared to how amazing Night Elves are in comparison. Moving on to the highly anticipated Enhancement Shaman tanks comes with a disclaimer. It is important to note and set your expectations here that Enhancement is now factually capable of tanking damage, as they got a 10% damage reduction while using their Rockbiter weapon, taking additionally 10% damage reductions from the Elemental attack passive, making them the best spell damage fight tanks, and they have roughly the same armor as a plate user. However, they do have a severe avoidance issue which may or may not be manageable depending on the fight, and many other conditions such as new itemization, etc. In general, they have a long way to go, but still, it looks to us like they will be the new protection paladin, capable of doing something, but not entirely. In terms of the best race, the statement goes like this. For the S tier 4 threat, Trolls Berserking seems like the best option for threat that has no backfire, using it at the start of the combat and after the first damaging hit on you, followed immediately by Orc, who factually will do better but suffers from the Blood Fury 25% heal reduction, and for a Shaman that might actually prove critical. Moving on into the S tier for the tank choice, of course we're talking about the Tauren. It seems like the best option due to the 5% health. Not just that, but the War Stomp, even though it could punish you a little during the cast, it is still one which is very worth. And with that said, we're reaching the end of the video, and I truly do hope you guys enjoyed it thoroughly and that made you make the right decision for yourself. Remember once more that things are subject to change, fine-tuning, etc. If any of these do appear, visit the pinned comment in the section below, as I will be updating that with due diligence. Once more, consider subscribing to the channel so we push for the 1000 subscribers goal ASAP, and I'll see you in the next video.